Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 220 of Is This Thing Working? How are you doing, Denise?
I am doing awesome.
I hear you.
In this really crazy political environment we have going on now that we have 13 days left until Election Day.
Yeah.
Even though we have election months now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they are.
Well,
you know,
Arizona said we need 10 more days. We're going to need 10 days.
It's crazy.
Georgia's screaming it. Everybody's screaming it.
Pennsylvania.
Man. Yeah.
You know, it's going to be.
Well, let's see. Yeah. I think it was Elon Musk that said that Argentina done 99.9% of their vote in 6 hours. Yes. He said our system is broken. I said, no, our system is rigged.
That's
what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is rigged.
Yeah.
And it's rigged against the American people.
Yes, it is.
You know, so we have 13 days, folks. We need everyone out there every single day. We need to, you know, just bury them in conservative votes and vote down a ballot.
Vote down ballot.
This is so important.
Vote early. Yes. Vote now. Vote now. Even
some of them, you have to hold your nose. Vote anyway. You know, I know. It's everyone. Is very.
So are you going to hold your nose and vote John Cornyn?
Thank goodness he isn't on the ballot this session.
Would you?
I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you.
I would hope that there was. You know,
I'd feel dirty.
I do believe that our Attorney General Ken Paxton is going to have someone run up against him and primary him when he is on the line next time.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that to happen. That will be so exciting.
Will you hold your nose for Ted Cruz?
I'll hold my nose for Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him much better than I like Pete Sessions.
And I know people in other states are probably feeling the same as we are. But hey, man, if you don't want to wake up next year under a completely different system and a completely different rule, man, I think we need to hold our nose and vote down ballot like everybody's saying. It's the only way we're going to do it, man.
And I will say this about Ted Cruz. Yeah. Yes, he kind of has been just sitting on the back burner.
Yeah.
You know, but if you see how he votes very conservative.
Yeah.
And another thing is, with the right people in the Senate with him to back him up, I believe that he would stand up more.
Chip Roy, even after he called us the F word?
I thank goodness he's not in my district, because I would have to hold my nose for that one, because he is a gaslighter.
Right.
I mean, so many people know that already. But we have a big show for you today.
Yes, we do.
And we're going to get into a Bannon, of course, and where Trump's been and everywhere. Then the rhetoric that's going on all over the country, and then the stuff that's coming from other countries, and the noise, and what's the signal. But before we do all of that, we would like you to support our sponsor and listen to an ad about Simply Guitar.
Hey there, music lovers. Are you ready to finally learn how to play guitar, but you don't know where to start? Well, Simply Guitar has you covered. Whether you're an absolute beginner or just looking to improve your skills, Simply Guitar is the app that makes learning fast, fun, and simple. No more boring lessons or confusing tutorials. Simply Guitar breaks down everything down by easy to follow step-by-step guidance, and you can practice at your own pace, and you'll be playing your favorite songs in no time. With real-time feedback, you'll know exactly how you're doing as you play, and the library of songs is massive, so you'll never run out of tunes to master. Best of all, you can access Simply Guitar from anywhere, whether you're at home, on the go, just jamming out in your living room. So what are you waiting for? Download Simply Guitar today and start making music your way.
Please click that link below, and thank you so much for supporting our sponsors. Also, we want to state, before we even start this show today, that these are our opinions and our assertions.
Yes, they are. And if you like the show, please, man, hit that like button. Share our show with each and everybody that you know. Tell everybody about us.
And if you don't like the show, please share our show with everybody. Is this thing working? Make sure you follow us on all platforms where we go live. For example, Rumble, X, and Getter, and you can find us on there really easy by typing in, "Is this thing working?" Also, download the podcast on Apple and Spotify if you listen in your car or while you're mowing your yard or putting up Christmas decorations, which are coming very quickly.
While you're out on a bike ride or out on a run.
That's it.
Anything, man.
Anything, man. We can get you fired up and get you down the road. That's for sure. So please support us at all these places. But the first thing we're going to talk about today,
which is Stephen K. Bannon.
That's it.
You know it.
And I have down here Bannon and then War Room Call to Action. Now, I have an article here from the Tennessee Star, and, Steve Bannon gets out of prison on the 29th. But the warden of the prison that he's in, Danbury, admits that the Biden-Harris DOJ has illegally imprisoned Steve Bannon since October 19th.
Yep.
So
that's 4 days?
Yes. So he would have got out 10 days earlier.
Remember, I think in a podcast, in one of our shows not too long ago, I brought that question up. I'm like, dang, man, you'd think that he would have got some good time served.
Yes.
Early release based on good behavior. And since we found out that he's actually teaching a civics class in prison, that may be why they're keeping him there, so these guys can finish their course.
Well, he was supposed to be out.
Yeah.
And he had put in a letter. And what it is the Tennessee Star on Monday obtained a letter sent by the Bureau of Prisons to attorneys representing Steve Bannon, wherein the federal agency acknowledged it is holding the former White House chief strategist in violation of the First Step Act of 2018, as Bannon accrued 10 days of good time credit toward an early release.
There you go.
Which is what James was talking about, because, he was teaching classes and actually doing toward the good, and you get credit for that.
Yeah.
The First Step Act, because of these credits, this is something that President Trump had put in there. And it says these credits would typically be applied toward early transfer to supervision pursuant to 18 U.S.C. Section 3624 G parentheses 3. However, Mr. Bannon does not have a term of supervision following his term of imprisonment. Thus, his 10 FSA time credits can only be applied toward pre-release custody replacement in a residential reentry center or on home confinement.
Yeah. So a halfway house or house arrest. Yeah.
Yes. So he wanted us to make sure, though, that we didn't focus on him being in prison, that we are to focus on the fact that the Biden and Harris administration has broken the law once again. And they continue to say they follow the law and this is the law, but actually it's their laws.
It's
whatever they deem
on that day.
On that day, yes.
Pretty much.
And so we have a video of Grace Chong from War Room explaining this to us right here. So listen to her, what she has to say.
So I wanted to read a statement from Steve Bannon. It was sent to CNN, not in its entirety, but so I want to read it for the posse. Great. So this is Steve. The queen of mass incarceration, Kamala Harris, will lose her bid for the presidency on 5 November because of Black and Hispanic men rejecting her candidacy and refusing to vote for her due to her failure to implement President Trump's First Step Act. Tens of thousands of Black and Hispanic men should now be back with their families or on a detailed path of when they leave prison. Harris played politics with people's lives, and now she will pay for her arrogance. Black and Hispanic men detest her and will never vote for her. It's impossible for her to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Georgia without this critical vote. Harris's BOP keeps me incarcerated 10 days longer than is legal because of the same failure to implement the First Step Act. So that's a statement from Steve. And I just want everyone to know the most important thing to know about Steve right now isn't his situation of him being illegally detained. The bigger picture of what he's standing up for is the most important. And this is about the First Step Act. It's a law that as he explained, it's a law that President Trump created to give thousands of prisoners a second chance. And that decision of thousands of people, mostly Black and Hispanic men. They're stuck in prison when they should have been eligible for early release or reduced sentences. So it's tearing families and communities apart. So that is the buried lead in all of this. And Steve he's been sounding the alarm on this because it's personal for him. He sees the bigger impact of the families of these prisoners. And this isn't about politics. It's about real lives being destroyed.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's about real lives being destroyed. Now, President Trump put out there this First Step Act to give people a hand up, a chance.
Yes.
You know, hey, here you go. You're out early because you followed the rules and the laws.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And here they are taking them away. Now, I thought, Kamala Harris was for
Soft on crime. But apparently she's not.
So behind the scenes, it's not that way.
Right.
And so this is very important that we push this out. So everybody out there, be informed and become engaged and be a force multiplier for us today and push this out. Push out Grace Chong, push out this article that I told you about. And then there's another article that came out today from thewarroom.org by Carrie Donovan. And it says, Kamala Harris faces backlash over denial of First Step Act rights, warns Bannon. Black and Hispanic voters will decide 2024 outcome. So make sure you get this article and share it too. Yeah. You can find it all on all of our platforms.
Yeah. You can find it on warroom.org also.
Sure can.
Yep. Definitely. And you know what? I guess out of all the lies that this woman tells, because from what I've seen of her, all she can do is come out and either deflect or lie. And then that's all she's done within her campaign.
Just a talking point.
Yeah, it's horrible. But it says right here that she warns Bannon, Black and Hispanic voters will decide 2024 outcome. Let me tell you what, that's true. They are going to decide it.
They are.
If the election is real and it's not rigged, that's going to be the deciding factor, and she's going to learn that lesson this time.
Yeah, you think so? Oh, man.
I hope.
Well, if you can beat the cheat.
If you can beat the cheat, yeah.
Because it is everywhere. Y'all are here. I know everyone out there is hearing all of the noise of going on around this cheating about what's going on. In Georgia,
with the
Arizona,
vote flips and ballot flips, yeah,
and even in Dallas, here in Texas,
even in Texas,
we're having problems. It is just out of control. But President Trump today, he is campaigning like crazy.
Yeah,
he is everywhere. He came out with a statement this afternoon about Kamala Harris's sinking campaign, which has become so toxic. He said,
"Yeah." He said Kamala Harris's sinking campaign has become so toxic that Democrat senators in 4 different states are using me in their advertisements and stating that they are with President Trump on tariffs and numerous other things. While it is a great compliment, it is not fair to those Republican Senate candidates Bernie Moreno, Dave McCormick, Eric Hovde, and Sam Brown, who are with me all the time. These Democrats have voted with crooked Joe Biden almost 100% of the time. They only pretend to be on my side when the elections roll around. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada. Vote for Bernie, Moreno, Dave McCormick, Eric Hovde, and Sam Brown. They are the ones who are with us.
That's right. The Democrats will do anything. You noticed these senators are not. They are not standing with Kamala Harris in her, her rhetoric and her leftist. And she is far left, guys. She's a progressive socialist.
Oh, yeah.
She just is not telling you. Which if you open your eyes, you do know this. I know you do, folks. I know that you understand, but, and then we go over here to Biden.
Talking about rhetoric, yeah.
Rhetoric, that continues to go on.
And this was gold, man, to me. Let's look at it and check it out and talk about it. But to me, this was gold.
Yes. From the New York Post, I have an article. Biden on Trump's 14 days before 2024 election. We got to lock him up, he says.
He stunned the listeners on Tuesday by saying that his predecessor, Donald Trump, should be locked up 14 days before the presidential election in which President Trump is the nominee. And Biden goes, if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up, Biden said during a visit to the Democratic campaign office in Concord, New Hampshire. And it says after a 4-second pause, which his audience enthusiastically applauded, then he added in an apparent backtrack attempt, politically, lock him up, lock him out. That's what we've got to do. The reason I say this is gold, it doesn't surprise me that Biden would say anything like this. But to me, it goes back to my wishing that when Biden got thrown out, and you know that during that time, I actually felt bad for the old guy, and we actually were in support of him because what happened to him was illegal and unconstitutional, and they stole the man's votes and they threw him out of his own damn primary.
Yeah, but they called him in the New York Post that he's retiring. Retiring President Biden, stunned listeners, is what the New York Post said.
And that's why I say this is gold, man, because in my way of thinking, what he's done right here is he has backed Kamala into a corner now with this, and every reporter on the planet ought to be pelting her with that with talk about this right here, man.
Oh, of course she isn't going to say anything. You know what is KJP came out today trying to debunk everything that we heard with our own ears. You know, like she always does. She is just someone that I cannot listen to.
You remember I kept saying that I think Biden, once he got thrown out like that, he ought to take Trump's side. He ought to go jump on Trump's side.
He really should.
But he hasn't, and that's what's cool about it. He hasn't, but this is like the second time now that he's thrown something out there to make Kamala have to stand up there and try to defend herself. And you know he's in the background just rolling about that. You know he is, man.
Well, she's had several, I guess, interviews or talks or whatever,
she come out,
you know, several today. And, you know, all I hear or read about those is, you know, that she can't form sentences, you know, and that every question they ask, she can't answer. And I think people even the media is getting tired of it.
Yep.
You know, except for the Democrats and what they do. Y'all remember
they do game
back
plan
when Nancy Pelosi had came out and just told us exactly what the Democrats do? Listen to Nancy Pelosi.
Yep. She calls it the wrap-up smear.
And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic. And
it's propaganda.
Yes, what it is.
That's exactly what it is. It's communist
lies.
Propaganda.
It's lies. And you fall for it every time, Democrats. You fall for it.
Every single time.
You want to be lied to. You like to be lied to. If
must.
You vote for a Democrat, you like to be lied to, because what they are doing to President Trump right now, coming out with this Atlantic article that we're fixing to go over, and it is disgusting. It is disgusting what they did, and everyone by now, I'm pretty sure,
has heard about the
hit piece that came out, because you know that's what they do. That's what the Democrats do. They like October surprises, and everything that they do all of October as an October surprise. But the fact that they came out in the Atlantic today, Jeffrey Goldberg, and the headline reads, Trump, I need the kind of generals that Hitler had. Folks, Trump is not Hitler.
And he has not said that.
Now, you know what? I read this article in depth, and I'm telling you that they picked one little bitty headline, one little bitty piece of this article that is actually a long read, a 6-minute read or more, and put it on the headline and then expect you not to read the article. Because if you really took the time and you go inside this article, you will find out that all they do is bring in former generals and someone that writes a book.
Yeah, that's mad at him and has something against
everybody
him.
that they can find.
Looking for a book deal. Yeah, you're right.
Everybody that they could find to tell you that President Trump and the military are at odds. That the military is... Okay, so one thing I don't understand as I'm reading along here, and these generals are telling President Trump, we follow the Constitution, not you. What does that mean to you?
To me?
Yeah, what does that...
That means insubordination. That means...
Isn't that
yes,
what that
that's
means?
Exactly what that means. That means insubordination.
Wasn't President Trump the commander in chief?
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if he has a military background. It doesn't matter if he knows military
That is
things.
okay.
He is the commander in chief.
Exactly. And they swore an oath to defend the Constitution. That's correct. But they also swore an oath to obey the commander in chief also. And if President Trump gives them a lawful order, it is their constitutional and patriotic duty to do what they're told to do and
whether
follow
they
orders.
like it or not.
That was the very first thing you learned at basic training. That was what basic training was all about, was to teach you to follow orders from your superiors. What they done was insubordination.
Yes.
And they deserve to be let go.
Yes. And they deserved to be tried in a military tribunal.
Yes, they did.
Every one of them. Because they came together, and anything that President Trump wanted to do. Now, granted, it wasn't what they wanted, and they have this military industrial
it wasn't
complex.
what the complex wanted.
And
True.
This is
they couldn't
the way
make a
they
profit
do
off
it.
of it. Right.
And President Trump comes in there and...
No war, no profit.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, folks, but they want you to believe that President Trump and the military are at odds. I believe the October and November surprise and the election surprise. This is my conspiracy theory, that they're going to use the military against President Trump. As you can tell, they started here in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
I'm
everybody's
so
seen it
worried.
for what it is. It's completely transparent.
I am so worried about this. We all know it's BS.
Yeah, and I don't think half of the military would even be involved. I don't think they would do it. Half of the soldiers, I don't believe the soldiers would do it. They would be like, no, because you can't use your own army against your people, man.
No.
So and
they do bring that up. They bring up the fact that President Trump was upset about the riots that kept happening over and over and over again.
He had every right to bring the National Guard in there to bring law and order. He had every right to do that.
He had every right to do that.
Yes.
And you know what? He said that he will do that if he gets back in there. When he wins and they start their rioting again, because this is what happens. The Democrats take over.
Yeah.
And they riot, but conservatives are not even allowed to peaceful protest.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
But another one of the things that they're talking about in here was a 20-year-old Army private who was bludgeoned to death by a fellow soldier at Fort Hood in Texas. The killer, aided by his girlfriend, burned Gillian's body, and her name was Vanessa
Guillen.
Gillian. That's it.
Vanessa Guillen.
Mm-hmm. Guillen's remains were discovered 2 months later, buried in a riverbank near the base after a massive search. This is from the Atlantic.
He goes on to tell the story about her, that Guillen was a daughter of Mexican immigrants. She grew up in Houston, and her murder sparked outrage across Texas and beyond. Fort Hood had become known as a particularly perilous assignment for female soldiers, and members of Congress took up the cause of reform. Shortly after her remains were discovered, President Trump himself invited the Guillen family to the White House, and with Guillen's mother seated beside him, he spent 25 minutes with the family as television cameras recorded the scene. And in the meeting, he maintained a dignified posture and expressed sympathy to Guillen's mother. And he said, I saw what happened to your daughter, Vanessa, who was a spectacular person and respected and loved by everybody, including in the military, he said. And later he made a promise, if I can help you out with the funeral, I'll help. I'll help you with that, he said. I'll help you out financially. I'll help you. And this is where, it, to me, you can take whatever was said and make it sound however you wanted to. The cost of funerals are expensive. He didn't say the shit they say he said, though. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. And if he did say, wow,
that's a lot.
That's
$60,000 is a lot.
I don't see him saying the other crap.
For an effing Mexican. That's what I'm trying to get at.
That is just not something he would say.
So more.
No. Come to find, I know it makes us so angry at the lies.
Well, yeah.
They add words that were not there.
Well, and
just to make a story
I
out
want
of
so
it.
hard to speculate how it went down too. Saying that, well, maybe he did bring up the cost of the funeral. You know what I mean? And going 60,000, that's a lot, man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But he didn't use racial slurs, and
No.
he didn't
he would not have
demean
done
anybody.
that. And the thing about it is they asked him, have you ever offered to do other families before? When he was in a meeting, he's like, I have. I've personally done it. He says, I can't do it through the government. I can't tell the government to do it. But the thing is, the military takes care of that. And the military did take care of that. And that's, and then they're going, well, he didn't pay for it. Well, no.
But he has every right to question the cost.
Yes. The military took care of it, and she was buried at Arlington National.
Yeah.
So the government did take care of it. So why would he have to pay for it?
Exactly.
So there is so much that's out there that they're trying to dig at President Trump. They've been doing this for 8 years now. And if you believe it.
And that's what I was fixing to say. If you believe something like this, all you have to do is go back and look at the family members of the 13 soldiers that died at the Afghanistan withdrawal, and the one that went to them individually as family,
yes,
and sat with them and prayed with them and comforted them and was there for them in their time of need. That was him. That's Donald Trump.
Yes.
What they're trying to tell you is not.
That's not Donald Trump.
No, it's not. Man.
No, because they can't stand that you see Trump as a real person.
Yes.
I mean, President Trump has been in barbershops all over the place with Lawrence Jones. He's been at McDonald's. They hated that.
Well,
they hated him being popular and loved by the American people. That he went to McDonald's.
He went to the cemetery with those people.
Yes. Yeah, and he's been to North Carolina.
Yes, the first one.
Yes, and he's been everywhere,
and he helps, and he does what he does.
He raises money for causes.
Yeah,
to help out. So this is just, it's out of control. And then all of a sudden, I do stress that please try not to subscribe to the Atlantic because they are sorry, but go read this article. Read what they really think of America.
Yeah.
And then listen right now to Kamala Harris and what she says about you, President Trump, and America.
I love Libby Emmons' take on it the best. Libby says, Kamala steps up to the podium outside the VP residence, spreads hoaxes, takes no questions, and goes back inside. And that's exactly what this woman does, man.
Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired four-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a...
Do you see my point? That he's commander-in-chief, and if he gives them a lawful order, it's their duty to obey that lawful order. And if they don't, then that's on them.
That's exactly right.
Hoax number one debunked.
The military who will be loyal to him personally. one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution
He never
of the
asked
United
that.
States.
He's never done
In just
that.
the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within, and even said that he would use the United States military to go after American citizens.
All the while that intel comes out that Iran meddled in our elections in 2020, and they're doing it now. All the while.
All the
And
while,
this is
yeah.
what she says, man.
They hacked our election system, folks.
This is
and
how
they're using overseas ballots with our Social Security numbers and names and everything because they hacked them.
Yep.
That's why they haven't cleaned any voter rolls.
Keep
That's
going.
what they're going to use.
And let's
Yeah,
be clear about who he considers to be the enemy from within.
you're the enemy from
Anyone
within.
who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify, in his mind, as the enemy within, like judges, like journalists.
Like judges and journalists who have actually lied and put people in prison for stupid
who are being
reasons.
weaponized
against
us and against American citizens.
I mean,
because
look at the amount of people that. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, as much as we've called him President Trump for the last 4 years, he's been just like us, an American citizen.
That's right. And American citizens have been destroyed by this justice system, like Rudy Giuliani,
Owen Schroyer. Good God, Alex Jones, man.
I mean,
the list goes on and on.
The list goes on, and how they don't follow the law. I mean, you are not supposed to, go above and beyond to ruin someone totally like they have. It's out of
because
control.
they're communists and they're
But they
wanting to take
blame
our country
President
over.
Trump for doing it when it's them.
Like nonpartisan election officials. It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans.
While you support Hamas.
All of this is further evidence for the American people of who Donald Trump really is. This is a window into who Donald Trump really is, from the people who know him best, from the people who worked with him side by side in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room. And
do you see the gaslighting? Do you see the projection? Do you see every bit of that? Do you?
Yes.
Everything that
That's
she is
exactly
saying.
what I was talking about, is how
Yes.
they took people that, and like they always do, this is the 51 former intel agents all over again.
Yep.
It's hoax, folks. President Trump did not say the things he said, and if he said anything close to it, they took it out. I mean, they took it out of context. They've tried everything. They've tried lawfare. They've tried assassination, and now they're going to try this. This is another hoax right before the election.
The Washington Post reports that Harris is likely to mention Trump's role in the January 6, 2021 attacks on the U.S. Capitol, but the speech is expected to be broader than focused on solely what she deems Trump's threat to American democracy.
So
Let me
be
tell you
expecting
something.
for this. This is a speech that she's going to be giving on Tuesday at the National Mall, according to the Washington Post.
Yeah, so she is actually going to bring up January 6th. Guys, I hope that once she brings it up, everybody in the entire planet better start asking her, where were you during the DNC pipe bomb hoax? Where were you?
Yeah, it's about time someone asked her that question. I know Julie Kelly would just love to do that, but before we close tonight, we want to tell you that where President Trump is going to be tonight. I do believe he is in Georgia, Duluth, Georgia. He's going to be the keynote speaker for the Turning Point rally in Duluth, Georgia. And then tomorrow he will be in Arizona. So please be looking for him there. He has not stopped, will not stop. He will be on the road every single day until Election Day. And get out and vote. That's our call to action. Get out and vote. Take 10 people with you.
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.